Hello, welcome back to Survival Saturday with Johnny Tiger. The date is November 7, 2020. One of the questions I got asked by my Night Strike self-defense group this week was a very good question, and I thought that it's worthwhile making it into a Survival Saturday scenario or topic. The group was discussing, sorry, the group was discussing how uh, or when or uh, what's the best way to utilize kicks in the self-defense scenario. Now, personally, I have been asked that question many times throughout years of teaching, training, competing, and defending myself. It's a good idea to kick, how to go about doing kicking in self-defense, what kind of kicks should you do, because nowadays our society is inundated with martial arts that look really cool, like Taekwondo and Muay Thai and kickboxing and Savate and all kind of martial arts that do these high flying, fancy spinning kicks. Kick someone upside the head and knock them out. And that is the kind of thing we see in movies, especially older kung fu movies, martial art movies. Bruce Lee with his flying kick. Yes, but and you can Google this if you have doubts about what I'm saying. Bruce Lee himself said during an interview that he would never throw the kind of kick he did in the movies if he was in a real fight. And I quote, Bruce Lee said, to kick someone in the head in a fight is about as useful as punching someone in the foot. So, does that mean that I'm totally against kicking in self-defense? Not necessarily, because kicking, if you do it right, will give you a massive amount of advantage over punching, slapping, clawing, grappling, with a simple reason that most people can kick way harder than they can hit with any other part of their body. When I was only 14 years old, back then I remember the punch master and all kind of machines at arcade, at playland were very popular. These machines were there for you to punch it, kick it, elbow it, whatever. And they will tell you how many pounds per inch is your strike. How hard can you hit, in another word. Now, as most of you, well, actually, I don't know how many of you, but those of you who have experienced these machines, you would understand that what the machine tells you is not necessarily valid. I have seen a lot of really good martial artists trying to throw a punch at the punch master, and then their number come out totally inferior to people who don't even train. And the reason was that if you spend a lot of time playing with those punch masters, you would know how to hit it to get the best results. So it has relatively little to do with strength, relatively little to do with martial art. But I think this is still relative. When I was 14 years old, my highest number ever achieved and a punch master was 200 pounds for square inch. My strongest kick ever registered was 900 pounds for square inch. So no matter how you crunch the number, that kick, my kick, even at 14, was over 4 times stronger than my punch. Through the years, a lot of people that spar with me, competed against me, fought me, some people will say Johnny is a guy who punches, relies on his punches. And some people will say Johnny is the kind of guy who relies on his grappling. Some people will say Johnny is the kind of guy who's most devastating when he's doing groundwork. They're all wrong. Here is the honest truth. Um, if you ask me what is my most devastating kind of move in a fight, I would tell you it's without a doubt my kicks. And this is why I almost never kick in the self-defense or in the competitive or in the sparring context because most of the time it doesn't require me to use that much force. But if I want to kick, I can usually output a lot of damage in a very short time. And this is why I don't outright say that kicking in self-defense is no good. Because I myself is a very good kicker, very strong kicker. And I know that for people like me, sometimes that one kick may make all the difference in the self-defense scenario. But you need to know how to do it. So today, I'm going to tell you guys the 4 things to keep in mind when you want to kick in self-defense. If you keep these 4 things in mind, then no matter what kind of martial art you do, no matter what kind of kicking style you do, it should help you in not making some fatal mistakes if you try to kick in the self-defense scenario. Rule number one thing to keep in mind is to kick low, not high. As Bruce Lee said, kicking high is like trying to punch someone in the foot. It's not productive. It looks really cool in tournaments. It looks really cool in exhibitions. But in self-defense, kicking high will get you hurt more often than not. And this is why. When we are fighting in tournaments, when we are fighting in sparring matches in the dojo, when we are doing exhibitions on stage, we are dressed properly. We are wearing baggy martial art pants, we're wearing stretchy spandex, or we are in boxing shorts, or whatever. We are wearing something that allow us to do what we need to do. But if you're out and about on town, if you just pub, come home from the pub like I just did, you're drunk, you're relaxed, you might be kind of woozy, you might be wearing jeans, you might be wearing kind of a tight uh, pants like I am. You think that your super high spinning kick is going to work like normal, and the moment you go into that kick, suddenly the material of your pants is yanking your leg down. You can't bring your leg up as high as you normally can. When you go into that spin, your whole center of balance is off because your pants is restricting your groin, your leg, your thigh. On top of that, you got socks on your feet, you got good traction on your shoes. Let me tell you guys that. Lately, we have to wear shoes when we train in the studio. And I have even noticed that with shoes on, I have to change how I kick. Because without shoes, I can spin really good. With shoes on, when I try to spin, the traction on my shoe keeps my foot grounded and I can't spin out. I end up almost hurting my ankles when I try to spin with shoes on. All that things tell us that in the self-defense scenario, we are not dressed optimally. we are not in the best condition, best place to do those high fancy kicks. So keep your kicks low. If I throw a high kick to the ribs like this, the person, all they have to do is drop their arms to grab my leg, and then I run the risk of being pulled down to the ground. Even if I kick them to the hip or to the thigh, all they have to do is bend down a little bit and hook my leg with their hand. Okay? I run a lot of risk of getting grabbed. But if I kick to the ankle, there's no way their hand, their arm can reach that. Okay? If I kick them to the knee, again, no way their hand is going to get there in time to grab my foot. That is reason number one why we want to kick low rather than high. Because you look at the placement of a human arm, where the hand is at natural rest, and you want to account for that. You can't go on the assumption that the person you are having to defend yourself against is not trained. That person might know some Muay Thai. That person might know some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Anyone can walk into a gym nowadays and learn some Muay Thai and learn some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and learn some karate. So you can't assume that they don't know anything. So you got to figure that if they know something, the moment you do this kick to the leg, to the thigh, the kick to the rib, they know to grab you. Okay? So your pants restricting you, already slowing you down, and then they grab your leg when you throw that high kick, you are at a great disadvantage already. The next reason why we want to kick low is for speed. Let me show you guys this. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. I'm going to throw a high kick. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, I'm going to count to 1, 2, 3 and throw a couple of low kicks. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. In the time that I can throw out one high kick on the count of 3, I can bust out 2 to 3, maybe 4 low hard kicks to the ankle, to the inside of the knee, to the shin, to the foot. It's way faster, takes way less energy. The last reason why we want to keep our kick low is when you kick high, you might impact the person's belly, you might impact the person's thigh, you might impact the person's hip, which is ouchie. Don't do that. If you hit them on the hip with your shin, most likely you hurt your shin more than you hurt their hip. You might hit them on the rib cage, but you might also hit them on the elbow. Again, shin versus elbow, shin is going to lose. I tried that before. Believe me, wasn't fun. Yes, if you kick high enough, you might get their head, but that's really hard. Really, really, really hard. If you can't even reach their head with your punches, what makes you think you can kick them with your leg, kick them in the head? So all in all, kicking high does not benefit you a lot. Get them in the hip, get them on the elbow, you break your shin. Get them on the side, get them on the belly, get them in the rib. You reap better damage, but it's long term. A lot of people can go on hurting you, fighting you, even with broken ribs. Sometimes people don't realize they have broken ribs until a couple of hours later. A person who's trained can survive, can stand up, and then you can kick them on the side. No problem. They'll take that. They'll be able to take that. Then kick them in the belly. I get kicked in the belly all the time. Doesn't slow me down. Okay? So, if you kick low, on the other hand, if you get them on the ankle, if you get them on the inside of the knee, if you get them on the back of the knee, they go down. Okay? The person, no matter how tough, is not going to be able to keep fighting effectively if you mess up their ankle, the inside of the knee joint, the back of the knee joint, the front of the shin with your kick. Because those parts of the body do not rely on big muscles, big tough muscles. It's all bones on the ankle, it's all bones on the shin, it's all bones on the inside of the knee. Back of the knee, never mind. It's all soft there. So the chance of reaping immediate results is a lot higher when you keep your kick focused on low area. You get quick, hard kick on the ankle, on the knee, on the shin, on the back of the leg, and then you can run away or do something more effective. So, the first thing to keep in mind when you want to kick in a self-defense situation is to keep your kick low, not high. Item number two, find support. Find support. Utilize what's available. When we are fighting in the ring, on stage, for exhibition, for sparring, for tournament, we do these high fancy kicks and our hands are out blocking, our hands are out to the side, really, really, really cool stuff. Okay? That's for show. When you're in self-defense, you may be dealing with road conditions that's not very even. You may be wearing shoes, like I said before. Well, most likely you are wearing shoes. You might be a bit tipsy from a night of drinking. So keeping your hand up or up to the side is a little bit counterproductive. No one's looking at you. This is not a time to be cool. When I'm kicking in self-defense, I'm going to grab some part of the person to stable myself with, or use the wall, or use the chair, or use the table. Because by having this stability, I maximize the force of my kick a lot more than if I try to free kick. If I hold on to the person, one of my favorite moves that I do is grabbing the person's wrist, pulling them toward me, and my kick goes right over into their leg. I can either do a roundhouse kick while I'm pulling them, or I can do a side stump kick into their knee joint while holding onto them. Having that stability makes me kick a lot harder, and also they are unable to get away. So when you want to kick, make sure you have some kind of structure. Either use the person you're fighting or the structure around you, the wall, the bench, the chair, to give you that extra stability. Learn to use whatever is available to you when you're kicking. Item number three, always prepare for failure. Don't assume that you throw this super hard kick to the knee and the fight is over. You might have missed, or you might have connected but missed the knee, or you might have connected with the knee but the person is wearing thigh-high boots or some kind of protection underneath their pants. You don't know that. So always be prepared to follow up no matter what happens. Right? Always in your head think that this first kick is going to miss or fail, and you got to follow up with that. Because otherwise, you're setting yourself up for some nasty, nasty surprises. For example, one of my favorite kicking related self-defense moves is my left foot would come around, with the inside sweep, kicking their ankle. But as soon as I kick the ankle, my right foot slashed around with a roundhouse, very low roundhouse to the knee joint. Now, a lot of people that watch me practice this move ask me, why do you bother with that second kick? Because your first kick to the ankle would already bring the person down. I said because I am expecting that first kick to miss. I'm expecting that first kick to fail. That is why I always follow up with the second kick. And if my second kick fails too, my left knee comes right up. I can keep this up for a long time. Then left, right, alternate kicking until I finally land the kick and get the result I want. So don't assume that the minute you kick, the second you kick, the fight is over. Follow through. Be ready to keep moving. Keep moving. Don't lose your balance. Don't lose your rhythm. Don't lose your advantage of being on the offensive. Number four, last but not least, a kick is not always meant to be your trump card. Remember, a kick is strong, it's powerful, yes, but it is also an excellent tool to keep distance. Let's say I'm in a fight with someone and I want to punch. And when I'm in the middle of punching, I need to reach down and grab a self-defense tool like a tactical pen or a knife out of my pocket. I punch, 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 and grab. The moment I drop my hand to grab, that person knows I'm reaching for something, right? And if I'm in punching distance, that means that person is within touching distance. So most likely I won't be able to take whatever I need out of my pocket before they stop me because they are too close. Now, if I go into the fight, punching, punching, and I switched over to kicking, 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 my tactical pen is already in my hand by the time I throw that last kick. I go into the fight, kick, kick, tactical pen already out, and I'm in a safe distance. Even if I throw my kick and the person grab my leg and is in the process of bringing me down, that alone gives me time to pull the knife or tactical pen out of my pocket, my sleeve. So while I'm folding, I'm driving this into their leg. So the kick doesn't have to be the move that ends all. Remember, those kicks can be just the kind of distraction you need before, while, during you extract, deploy your self-defense tool. So to recap, the four things to keep in mind while kicking. First, kick low, not high. Second, use support, chair, wall, person before you kick. Third, always figure on missing. Always plan ahead. Don't stop after you kick. Move, move, move. It's just like dancing. Move, move, move. Every kick leads to the next move. Your balance is always following your kick. Number 4, use your kick to set out as a distraction for something else you need to do, like extracting your tactical pen or knife or gun, whatever. Thank you for checking out today's Survival Saturday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Soul Search Sunday. For now, have a good night.